Thank you. All right, Orit, we're going to just take a look at the new process for the release post in 12.2 and just kind of browse around and see if we can figure it out together because it's new to us and it's new to everybody. We decided to record this meeting so that anybody else who is interested in just getting up to speed on the new process can hopefully benefit from our exploration. So I think the core of the changes are in this section, or at least these are the kind of urgent ones that are going to be due first. The first big change that I'm aware of is that the due date has changed to the 17th. We used to do this a lot sooner because code freeze was on the 8th. Some teams are still finishing on the 8th. Some teams are finishing somewhere in the middle, and some teams are taking up until the 17th to finish. And that's really up to the team. Whenever your teams are ready, I think you can start contributing these things. And honestly, you can start contributing them even for things that you know are done now, even if the team is still working on other things. So any direction items that are already closed, you can start doing this process. And yeah, the basic change is that we make a new branch off of master, so not off of the release branch, where we create these individual files for individual features. And then there's actually, I think Josh is maybe doing this manually now, but there will be an automated script that collects all of these and puts them in the right order and builds out the final file. So we can take a look at this data release post feature sample thing and see what that looks like. Let's see. I'll go ahead and open up the web IDE. And then what was that path?
It was something / unreleased.
Yeah. Data, release posts, unreleased, feature sample. Okay. Yeah. So it looks very similar to what we had before, where we had each of the individual sections. I assume that if it's in the secondary section, you just change this to secondary.
So wait, before you go further, this is for every feature that is labeled as direction?
Yeah, that's typically the rule. We have also the release post item label, where if something isn't direction but is worth calling out in the release post, then we have those as well. But you'd be aware of those if you were using them because typically it would have been you who applied it.
And no bug fixes are in the release post, right?
Typically not. It would have to be kind of a major thing that's worth driving customer awareness, like we finally fixed something, or this is going to change things in a breaking way, or something that we need to drive awareness on. Otherwise, yeah, it would just be here. So yeah, I mean, honestly, this looks the same. It looks like the way you do this is you create multiple of these files and then name them in some unconflicting way. So if this was for directed acyclic graph in my upcoming release, I assume I would name this directed acyclic graph.yaml and then put all the content in here. It would be nice, I think, and maybe I'll make an MR to do this later. The old version of this had comments that kind of helped you know what to put in here if you were a new person. It looks like that's gone now. It's just it's just kind of an example one. So I'll see if I can bring in some of that older stuff. But yeah, that honestly looks pretty straightforward.
Let's go through it one by one. So
yeah,
we have the primary, and underneath that we have the name of the feature, the tier.
Yeah.
The web page URL is the category.
Well, it could be different things. It's the page that you want to send people to. So for this example, they are sending people to a marketing page that exists. But if we look, for example, back at the July release, this is what that content is coming from, where we used to all edit in a single big file. So sometimes it would point to a documentation link, and this is what I was saying, like all of the instructions on the different kinds of links and things seem to be gone. Now it's just website link, but there are actually different options there. And yeah, there used to be a template one that sort of told you everything, but those always get deleted at the end. Maybe it's still in here. Yeah, so here's like a full example of what all of the different options are, and that should really be in this feature sample thing, I think. Yeah, and here's a more full example of what a primary feature would look like. And it tells you which ones are required or which ones are not. So this is what I want to put in this, instead of it being, it looks like some kind of strange partial thing. That's not a great example.
Okay. And what's the difference between the primary and the secondary?
It's just where they appear in the blog post. So there's a primary section that typically has 3 items at the top, and those are the primary features in the release. Then secondary is where they're side by side going all the way down.
So basically, before we all compile our files, we don't really know who's going to be the primary.
Yeah, that's true. Although you can advocate for whichever one you want. If you think it should be a primary feature in your YAML, I would put primary, then leave it to whoever's merging it to decide if they disagree. I think for the most part, if you know it should be a primary feature, you'll know it, and that's your way to advocate for it. Yeah. So then. If we come back here, let's see what else is different. So we create each of those files. Yeah, oh yeah, and then it says we have to mark which section it goes into. And then this is all the normal things we have to do.
Let's go through them, as this is my first time.
Sure. So the reviewer checklist is just kind of like style things. It talks about your images and the size of the images, the feature name, make sure your feature availability is correct. So if it's in core, starter, premium, or ultimate, make sure the feature description is positive and cheerful and in our happy tone.
Where do I take the images from? Do we have a library?
No, you'd have to go take a screenshot yourself of your own feature and upload it. Maybe engineering will have given you something in some cases, but for the most part, you should just go grab it yourself. Yeah,
I've encouraged engineering to create demos to walk through the feature that they're delivering. Yep. Where would I put that?
There's also a video link so if we look at the full template instead of that the sample, by going back to previous release, or sorry, the current one, where all the templates are still in there. Oh, what's this thing doing? Then there's a video link as well, which overrides the image. So if a video has been recorded, you can link to the video, and it will put the video in the spot where the image would go, which is even better. Yeah. So if you want to record videos, then that's great. Link to those instead. Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, I'm just going to take the documentation out of here now, because this is not really actionable. It's more confusing than helpful, I think. And then take the lorem ipsum example.
You can search, no?
Yeah, but I was in the wrong file.
Here you go.
And replace this. Yeah, I think this is a lot better, more helpful. Yeah, and so I think that's that. That we were looking at the reviewer checklist, which again has just the kind of tone and style things that you should be aware of. Once your MR is ready and has all of your features in it, you should ask a tech writer, the one who's assigned to your team, and you can look that up on the categories page, to review the MR and make sure that everything is good. Looks like this is, I'm honestly not 100% sure what this is saying. It might just be a checklist for the tech writer to double check, but it looks like it's sort of a duplicate of making sure that you have your sections here. And then if you, okay, so what this is saying is that if you do want to advocate for something being your primary feature, make sure you engage your product marketing person early so that the content can be brushed up. Because in addition to the section that you're creating in this, in your feature.yaml files, you also, or the product marketing is also responsible for writing that top section where they sort of restate the exact same thing except in prose instead of the format. And then this is for the reviewer where it looks like they're just double checking the exact same things that was in the reviewer checklist. Let's see what else there is here. Okay, once you've actually done, your MR is done and presumably merged, you should mark your section off here.
Oh, look, I'm not tagged.
Then you're not listed there, so we'll have to update the template. Recurring blocks, so. Okay, so you don't have anything in this section. These are other special sections of the document. And then this is actually Josh's part where he pulls everything together and integrates everything and handles the rest. So it looks like in a lot of ways it's actually a lot easier because we're not all editing the single file at the same time, and you can create all these individual files and just have them out there. You can open your merge request even today and start assembling things. You can ping your product marketing manager and your tech writer. They can be involved early. And yeah, poor Josh has to suffer temporarily where he's manually assembling all this stuff. But I can imagine it'll be really cool in the future when he gets a script written that can just pull all these things in, publish them, and we just review the blog post. It's going to be a lot easier than what we've been dealing with. Any other questions before we wrap this up?
No.
Okay, cool. Excited to try it out. I'm sure we'll find some issues, but we'll fix them and iterate as we always do. Thanks, Orit.